This is my little princess. She's just woken up. I wanted to do this video on my postpartum journey because this has been the most challenging transition I think I have gone through personally. So I already told you my birth story, and I guess I'll start from right when I left the hospital. So most hospitals keep you in there a minimum of 2 nights, and I knew from before I had her that I didn't want to stay in the hospital for too long, because one, I don't really like hospitals. Two, the last memory I have in a hospital was when my dad died, and it was really traumatic, so I just didn't like the thought of being in there alone by myself. So because my birth went so smoothly and there were no real concerns, I actually asked, so after I had her at 6:30 at night, and I didn't know that Trav couldn't stay in the hospital with me, and I think at like 8ish, the nurse came into the room, and the first thing she said to us was, oh, you know you can't stay here tonight, right? To my husband, and straight away we just looked at each other like, are you joking? Like, we've just had a baby together and now you want to separate us? And it just like freaked me out. So they actually let him stay till about 11:30, and then he went home because there was nowhere really for him to even sleep. There was only like a little chair, not even a couch, and it was in a shared room as well. So even though the people that were sharing the room with me hadn't come into the room yet, like I still had the room to myself till 7:30 in the morning. But yeah, that first night with her by myself, like I was terrified. I had no idea what to do. Like, she was this brand new baby, and like I didn't know what I was doing, and the nurses only came in every like 3 or 4 hours, like to see if I had fed her, and like I hadn't even really learned how to do that yet, even though I had studied the breastfeeding program, the Thompson method. It still was so different in person. Like, you don't know if your baby's gonna latch. You don't know like if like they're gonna be like, what her problem was that she was so sleepy after she came out that she would latch, but then she would just fall asleep on my boob. Like, she wouldn't really eat. So the first few hours, like after I had her, I was actually having to syringe feed her with my colostrums, and I had no idea how to do that. I didn't even know how to get it out. Like, so the nurse had to come and kind of squeeze it out of me and put it in a syringe and then feed it to her through a syringe. And like, that was kind of horrible because I pictured in my mind the first breastfeed and all of the studying I had done, and just thought it was going to be a breeze, and it was nothing like that. Hello. So yeah, with the first night, like I had fed her enough of what I needed with the syringe, but then she later on that night she actually started coughing up like mucus, and I freaked out because I didn't know that was normal. Like, I didn't know how to move her. Like, I rolled her onto her side and like let it come out, but by the time I'd buzz the nurses and they'd come in, like anything could have happened, and I was just kind of like annoyed that they left me all on my own and I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I would have felt safer if I had Trav there with me. So yeah, the first night, we got through the first night. I mean, she slept most of the night anyway. It was me that was pretty much awake, just watching her, making sure she was breathing the whole time. And I think Trav was allowed to come back by 8:30 in the morning, but I had asked to be discharged early. Like, I did not want to go through that again by myself. So they were really hesitant, and they kind of pushed me to stay the second night, but it was still my choice, and I asked them if I could leave early. So once I'd had like all my checkups and she'd had all her tests, I did decline the Hep B and the vitamin K. They were really funny with that as well, but they respected my decision eventually. I'm not going to go through why I didn't get those. If you already follow me, you know my view about the shots. But yeah, so I didn't get those. She had her hearing test, she was weighed and had her like eye tests and all that sort of stuff, and I had like the, I think it was a physio, and like another person check on my mental health and everything like that. And we were fine to go. So, but right before we left, Trav was selling his car, and like it just happened to fall on the day that she was born, and he had to actually go and drive back to give the car to who was buying it, and I didn't want to be alone again, so I called my mum to come to the hospital. And yeah, she got there and met her for the first time, but then we ended up realising that they were going to let me go at the same time Trav was leaving, so we all ended up, Mum got there and we all ended up leaving and then coming back to the house. And it was just from that moment when we came to the house, like I just thought that it would run so smoothly. Like I thought in my mind, like, yep, I don't need the help, like I'm gonna be fine. And as soon as I got home, everything started to hit me, like the memory of her birth, like just what had happened in the last 24 hours, the fact that I had this baby now and like I had to keep her alive. Oh, you saying hi to the world that way, huh? Alright, I'm just gonna change her nappy and I'll be back. Sorry, this is what my life is now, changing nappies. Changing nappies. Okay, what was I saying? Yeah, so we got home and oh my gosh, I think just everything hit me at once, and I started to feel, one, like sleep deprived, because just I wasn't used to having to wake up like every few hours to give her food. Like I wasn't used to that, obviously. And just obviously in pain because I had stitches and I couldn't really, like it hurt to sit down. And then just, yeah, my body had been through it, and I was starting to feel it as soon as I got home. And I got emotional, I got overwhelmed because so many people wanted to come to the house, like all of Trav's family, like all of my family, and it was just a lot. So many faces and voices and questions, and it was just too much for me. Like I couldn't barely handle it, and I had to just go into my room. And I think, so my milk came in on day 3, and by that point, like I definitely felt even worse. I didn't feel connected to her straight away, like in the first few days, because like, I mean, I did, but I was so shocked by the reality of keeping her alive and doing it on like 0 energy, and how hard that would be on me. Like it really hit me, and I definitely got the baby blues. I would cry for no reason. I got major anxiety anytime I knew someone wanted to come and visit us, because I wasn't at my peak, I wasn't at my best, and I was still trying to figure out her and me and my new role. I felt like everyone was judging me and like my choices, and like if she would cry and I didn't know how to do it straight away and someone else would be here, I'd get really anxious, and I'd have to almost just pass her to Trav and get him to like change her nappy. Like I'd had, after all the years of researching everything I had researched, I didn't like think about the simple things like changing a nappy and putting a onesie on her, like putting her in clothes, how to hold her properly, like supporting her weight, oh my god, like how to swaddle her in different blankets. Oh, just all like the simple things I really struggled with, and with all my like hormones like changing again and coming back to normal, and my milk coming in, like that's a whole nother story. That was just, it was just too much for me. The first 2 weeks was so hard on me physically and emotionally that I didn't think I was going to cope. I didn't know how I was going to handle it, and I almost like regretted not having her, but regretted all of like the research and stuff I had done, because I just thought it was a waste. Like none of it was working, and like there was no point in me doing it because everything that it was saying was different to what was happening to us. And yeah, so even though I had an amazing pregnancy, I would say that I struggled with the after birth way more. The bleeding was so heavy, like I was bleeding for like 6 weeks. I only just stopped bleeding maybe 2 weeks ago. Just the pain and like going to the toilet. Oh my goodness, we've just changed your nappy. Really? Okay. Sorry, Sunny, your little bum's on camera. Oh. And this is why I have no time in the day anymore. And dribble all over my new shirt. Is that funny? Oh. I literally don't even know what I was talking about. It's probably going to be time to feed you in a second too. Oh, yes, the baby blues, I definitely got that. Trav was like the mum and the dad, I have to say, for the first like week at least, because I just couldn't handle it. I really struggled. One, because I had this picture in my mind of what it was going to be like, and it was so different. It was just tears for no reason. Like I'd be smiling with her 1 second, and then Trav would come into the room and I'd be bawling my eyes out, and he'd be like, "What's wrong?" And I'd be like, "I don't know, like I don't feel good." And then I'd have to go and like sleep. I think the first like week she would not get put down at all. She would only sleep on our chest. So I'd literally have her on my chest for like 3-4 hours, wake up, and then pass her to Trav, and then he would have her on his chest. Yes, that's what we did with you. And we'd just go back and forth like all night, and then we'd wake up and not even know like what day it was, what time it was. We were just so exhausted. The exhaustion hit me on such a level I didn't know who I was. Like I couldn't function. I couldn't even eat properly. My mum had to go shopping. Like she'd already made me a whole bunch of pre-frozen meals, so I wouldn't have to worry about food, and I couldn't even gain the strength to like make any of the meals that she had planned for me. Like she went to Coles and bought me like a roast chicken and just like, "Hey, oh, is it because I'm not paying attention to you when I'm talking about you? Are you blowing bubbles? Yes, you're blowing bubbles. Huh? You're getting hungry. Yes? What was I saying? What was I saying? What was I saying? Oh my god, I don't know what I was saying. And that's another thing. I literally, my brain, pregnancy brain was one thing. Mum brain is a whole nother deal. Like I just stop mid-sentence and forget what I'm talking about. I just forget what I'm talking about. Yes, so the first, like the sleeping was crazy. Learning like her cries. At first she didn't really cry, to be honest. It was like a tiny like newborn cry, like barely a noise would come out. Like it was just very like she didn't find her lungs till maybe week 3. And that's when I like, that was a whole nother thing as well. Like she got louder and like I didn't know what was wrong with her. I think it's quite simple now. Like it's such an easy routine. It's pretty much just she wakes up, I change her nappy, I bath her if she needs a bath like that morning, I feed her, have a little bit of playtime with her, and then she sleeps. And then we start all over again. She sleeps for about an hour and has to sleep after being awake for an hour because she starts to get cranky. Like now. You're getting cranky now, huh? Yes? Hold on, I might just quickly feed her and come back. Wow, I don't know if I'm ever going to get this video done today. I thought this was going to be a good day. But you know that I'm not paying attention to you, huh? Don't you? Yes? I don't know what I was saying before I was feeding her. Are you gonna be tired now? You want to sleep on Mama? Yeah? Oh, come on. Go to sleep. Sleepy time. Sleepy time. Sleepy time. Yeah, so the routine we're in now is fairly simple. I mean, she does change it up on me. Like, I'll get to know her, what she needs for like a week or 2, and then she completely changes again, and I have to figure it out again. But at the start, I was all over the place. Like, I didn't know when she was hungry, when she needed her nappy change, when she was tired, and sometimes it would seem like she needed all of those things at the same time. I remember, so like Trav had 2 weeks off, and I was dreading him going back. Good girl. I was dreading him going back to work. Oh. It's all happening today. This is real motherhood. Vomits and poopy diapers and burping and dribbling. I think you need to sleep, Missy. This is what I was going to have you in tonight. You've already... Yeah, I was dreading him going back to work because... So, like, here's another thing. I thought that I wouldn't need anyone to help me, and, like, I wouldn't need my mum. I didn't think I'd want my mum or, like, my sister or anyone around, and I think my mum and sister were here the first, like, 3 or 4 days, pretty much all day, all morning. As soon as, like, I would wake up, one of them would be here because I could not handle it. I was struggling so bad, and you could see it was written all over my face. I was just... so out of my league, and I had no idea what to do with you. And just everyone's opinions were just like doing my head in, and like too much advice, and just everyone thinking they knew what she needed, and yeah, it was just a lot. I felt like I was going in this downward spiral of like just negativity and like emotional, and I didn't want to see anyone. I didn't want any of my friends over. Like, no one even saw her for like a month at least. I was scared to take her out of the house. Like, I was scared to drive with her on my own. I was scared to leave her in the back seat on her own if I was driving, even with Trav. Like, I'd have to sit in the back with her. I still do sit in the back with her sometimes. And yeah, so the first like once I kind of got used to like the lack of sleep and just you know, sort of what to do, the next challenge was breastfeeding. She would not latch to my right side, only my left. So luckily I had bought like a pump and bottles and all of that as well. I think you need to go to sleep, Missy. Yes? Yes, definitely. You sleep on Mama? Come on. So I'd have to feed her on my left side and then express my right side and then feed her either like with my finger, a syringe, or in a bottle, which was really hard. She hated the bottle, still hates the bottle. She does not like the taste of plastic, I'm guessing, and also the shape and the size of the teat. She just does not like. I've tried all the different ones. Not that I want to use a bottle, but at the time when I thought that was my only option, she was not liking it. It was so physically exhausting, having to pump and feed her like on the other side. And I just, that was the most challenging thing for me. I thought it would be the easiest because I paid for a program and did a whole program on it. And it was like the opposite to what I thought. Like babies will do what they will do. Like you can't force things on them. Every baby is unique and they don't always, breastfeeding is not always a breeze. Like it was really, really hard. I struggled with not only her latching to both sides, but once my milk properly came in, I have an extremely fast letdown, and it would just end up like she'd be gulping on the milk, like could barely keep up with it, that she'd end up vomiting back up. And that was another scary thing. The first huge vomit she did was like a power chug, and I freaked out because then she also vomited green stuff after it, and I freaked out. I knew that was like a red flag. We took her straight to the doctors. They weren't too concerned because they said, you know, she was so young, she just has an immature digestive system and is still learning how to digest the milk. But I would cry nearly every day, worried that she was going to vomit all the milk up, or just, I was basically dreading each feed, knowing that there was going to be an issue, whether it be her not latching, her vomiting up all the milk, her not getting enough, getting too much, and like she wasn't able to handle it. But eventually because what I was trying to do was always have her positioned in the way that the Thompson method taught me. So basically the cradle hold with her like across me, and all four parts of her face like directly over my boob. And it was not that easy. She just didn't like doing that at first. So I ended up having to lay on my back and basically lay her on my tummy with her like on top of me, and she ended up latching to both in that position, and that was how I breastfed her for the next week or two, which was amazing because I didn't have to express anymore, and I was finally able to stop expressing, which took a lot of stress off my hands. I think the next hard thing was that when Trav had to return to work, he obviously had to get up early, and we weren't able to sleep in the same bed together, and we're still not. So she sleeps in the bed with me. She doesn't really like getting put down in the bassinet. She does go in the bassinet for her day nap sometimes, but because he's not in the room with us, I kind of like her in the bed with me at this point, and I know heaps of people don't agree with that, but that's what's working for us at the moment. And Trav sleeps in the spare room, and that was a really, and is really a hard thing for me because, you know, for nearly 9 years it's just been us two like in the bed together, and we've just had this beautiful baby, and I expected like this beautiful fairy tale family scenario, and it's like nothing like that. It's like we're completely separated. He only sees us for a few hours a day because he works all day, and then has to go to bed early so he can work the next day. We're in separate ends of the house, and it's so horrible. And I hated when he went back to work. I felt really alone, and luckily, like, my mum she still is. She comes nearly every day, and I could not have gotten through it without mum. Obviously without Trav as well, because I just thought I'd be so like a natural at just being like the stay-at-home mum, be able to do it all my own, and I wasn't. Now, I mean, she's 8 weeks old now, and like, I've got the hang of it. Like, she's pretty good. She's actually a really good baby. She only really fusses and cries if she's overtired, or if someone wakes her up from her nap before she's ready to wake up. Other than that, she's so good. Like, she started sleeping through the night. She slept 6 hours last night, and then another like 3 or 4 hours. Like, she's so good. What else? What else happened? I mean, obviously I was nervous to go to all the maternal health nurse appointments because I knew I wasn't vaccinating her, and I knew that was going to be frowned upon. If not, I thought I was going to get treated horribly, but my doctor is actually a real sweetheart, and she did go through like the risks and everything with me. Not that I agree with the risks, but she was fine with it, and she said it was my choice, and she was happy to still be our doctor, which made me really happy. What else? Yeah, I think what I just wanted to get across was that I was so naive in the expectations of how it was going to be. I pictured just like this happy little family, like we were all prepared, like we'd read the books, I'd done my research, and it's just nothing can prepare you for, one, the birth, and then two, actually being a parent. Every single moment now is for her, pretty much. Like, I get a few hours, not in a chunk, like not in a row, like separated when she has her naps, like to eat, to shower, to get dressed, and to clean. And that's pretty much it. Some days she does not want to get put down, and she will only let me hold her, which I'm happy with, because I mean, she's only going to stay this small for so long. But it makes getting anything done really hard, and I didn't realize how much I needed me time. Like, I had to ask Trav if I could just go for a walk the other day and he'd take her, because I just needed to be by myself, just to like remember what it was like for a second. I'm sure there's other stuff that I haven't said. Oh, just like the leaking of the milk, that I thought, because I'm such a small person and never had really huge boobs, that like I wouldn't even produce much milk and it wouldn't be like a thing. And if I even think about her, look at photos of her, hear her cry, hear another baby cry, talk about her, I start leaking milk. So I don't even know what a real bra is anymore. Like, I have to wear maternity bras, I have to wear nursing pads, like, because I leak through everything. And it's calmed down now that my milk is regulated, but at the start, oh my gosh, like they would just get so engorged and like rocks, and I'd have to go and relieve the pressure if she wasn't feeding, like 5 times a day sometimes. And it doesn't just come out like drops, it fully squirts out like a cow, and I had no idea that that's what happened. That was a real shock to me. I was so surprised. What else? Yeah, I think I've only been able to wash my hair like a handful of times in the last 2 months. It's really hard to even get that long in the shower. Though, to be honest, she likes the sound of the shower, and she loves loud, not like loud sudden noises, but she loves a constant loud noise, like the hairdryer, the vacuum, a fan, the shower running. Like at night, every night we have white noise on, either on my phone or I go on YouTube and play like rain sounds or something, because she she's not very good when it's complete silence. So when we take her out, she's an angel out in crowds with the noise. She loves it. And then when we're home, like, it's so quiet now, I really should have noise on, but I just don't have it on. Oh my gosh, the washing. I have never done so much washing in my entire life. She either poops through everything, vomits on stuff, like, she's weed on me like a few times on my clothes. I remember the first like week, and she did a huge poo explosion, and I was wearing white slippers and a white top. I don't know why, but like, it went all over me. Like, I've had to nappy sand everything. Hey darling, come up here. I just got to put her down actually. Sorry. Come on, darling. Oh, she's probably gonna cry again, but yeah, it's her nap time. So right now, because every week there's been something different. First it was the breastfeeding, then the vomiting, then like learning her cries, learning her cues. Right now I'm focusing on her sleep, so her whole day is based around her nap times, whereas before I was doing it all based around her feeding times. But I noticed that she can actually go a while without feeding. Like, I feed her roughly every 2 hours, but sometimes she can stretch from 3 to 4 hours as well, if I'm lucky, throughout the day. And now I notice if she's awake over an hour, she starts to get really cranky, and it's really hard to settle her. I try and feed her before her nap time, like within 15 minutes or so that can put her to sleep a bit more. Sometimes that doesn't work. So yeah, right now we're working on sleep. Oh, she's fussing now. Look, I think that's as good as I'm gonna get with today's video. I was hoping I could get that done all in one, and I'm sure there's stuff I've missed out. But I might do the next video. I kind of just went through my breastfeeding journey, so I don't really know if any point doing a breastfeeding one. This is probably a terrible video, but that's the reality of my life right now. I do love it. I mean, when she smiles, it just melts my heart. I have never seen such a beautiful smile in my entire life, and she's just like a mini me, and she's so beautiful. But yeah, it is taken a while, and I feel like more women need to talk about the postpartum like time. I don't think anyone talks about how hard it really is, and everyone really sugarcoats it and makes, like, on Instagram you don't see any of this stuff. Like, I struggled so badly, and it's taken me pretty much 6 weeks to just get in a rhythm and feel more like myself again. And I actually have makeup on today, and like, I've done my hair, and next I have to do the housework. Hopefully I can get that done. But yeah, so that is how the last 8 weeks have been, and it has been tough, but it has been so worth it. And yeah, I guess I'll talk to you guys when I think of another topic.